conquer. That's what they're calling it. It's a weak headline. If you want to avoid those news, you can avoid it. But if you want to read about how Arsenal almost won it, then you can, because the back page here is Man City and not Arsenal are EPL kings. You're going to hear a story on the back page picture here of Rodri celebrating the win yesterday, and he scored against West Ham yesterday. Yes, match started at 6, ended at around 9:30. Now the news that Arsenal were not winning the EPL got more likes and views than Man City announcing that they have won the trophy 4 times. In fact, if you watched it towards the end of it, Liverpool's Jurgen Klopp's speech of saying goodbye to Liverpool got more views than Man City's title celebrations. Anyway, again, there is a standing here. I'll tell you what it is. I don't think the standard continued the standings into the page, and we don't have that this morning, because I can only see Arsenal, Man City, Aston Villa, and Tottenham and Liverpool. Sorry, you have to open the page to find the guys who are celebrating the most. Oh, Arsenal have not won the league, but you're not even playing in Europe next season. The entire of your team is broken. I mean, 60 points? Bro, if my team gets 60 points at the end of a season, I'm just quitting football. 60 points. There's a possible 100 and something, and you decide, but we're just gonna get 60. It's enough. My God. And here you are celebrating Arsenal not winning the league by 2 points. They would have won it. Now you're celebrating it. I even wonder whether you watched your game yesterday, because there was no reason to watch it. Absolutely no reason to watch it. Anyway, we take a tiny breather, and once we come back, our news this morning. Welcome back. Let's open with our first story this morning, where President Ruto has departed the country on a formal state visit to the United States lasting 5 days. The historic occasion comes in 2 decades that an African head of state has been honored with such recognition during President Biden's leadership. Among the pivotal agendas, the visit will delve into the depths of Kenya-US economic, health and security partnerships. Let's take a look.
On Monday, President William Ruto will start his visit to Atlanta, Georgia by visiting the Carter Presidential Library and Museum, followed by paying respect to the civil rights movement at Ebenezer Baptist Church. His focus will then shift to the US-Kenya Health Partnership at the CDC headquarters, where major collaborations will be announced. The day will conclude with a warm reception from Atlanta's Kenya diaspora community.
This visit is a historic milestone, as the first state visit by a Kenyan head of state in 2 decades, and the first by an African head of state since 2008. The visit demonstrates a robust partnership between Kenya and the United States, and is a fitting tribute to 60 years of diplomatic ties that we are celebrating as Kenya and the United States.
President William Ruto will visit Spelman College on Tuesday to highlight the importance of higher education, especially in science and technology, for Kenya's human capital development. Following this, he will head to Tyler Perry Studios to explore creative economy prospects.
President Joe Biden of the United States of America. The visit is themed Partnership for Prosperity and aims to bolster shared commitments to economic growth, democratic values, peace and security, and reflects the strategic importance of Kenya to the US as a leading regional anchor and the main commercial gateway to Eastern Africa. The visit builds on existing partnership to highlight the following key thematic areas. 1, shared values including democratic governance. This includes people-to-people ties, health partnerships, as I said, and promotion of the creative economy. There will be several meetings towards that effect.
On Wednesday, President William Ruto and the First Lady will be ceremoniously welcomed at Washington, D.C.'s St. Andrews Air Force Base. Subsequently, they will participate in significant meetings at Capitol Hill, including sessions with a bipartisan congressional delegation.
The two countries' shared commitment to governance, democratic values, and anti-corruption efforts. His remarks there will underline the importance of democracies working collaboratively to tackle global challenges. The President will then visit Ebenezer Baptist Church to pay homage to the civil rights struggle and emphasize how religion can be a force for good. This visit will underscore the respect for historical struggles for equality and justice.
Thursday, the focal day of President William Ruto's state visit to the United States, will commence with him and the First Lady Rachel Ruto laying a wreath at Ellington National Cemetery to honor both American soldiers and historical figures. Following this solemn ceremony, President Ruto will engage in crucial bilateral discussions with President Joe Biden, focusing extensively on enhancing Kenya-US economic, health and security partnerships.
He will brief the legislators on the dual crisis of climate change and conflicts in the region, and Kenya's leadership in dealing with these challenges, in urging Congress to be cognizant of the need for African goods to continue accessing the US markets on preferential basis. The President will implore Congress to extend the Africa Growth and Opportunities Act, better known as AGOA.
John Matava, Lookuptv.
Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga has come to the defense of Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua amid rumors of discontentment within the ruling coalition. Kahiga has cautioned leaders pushing the DP from the party, as Ian Ketani now reports.
As questions continue to linger regarding the relationship between President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua following the latter's absence in various state functions attended by President Ruto in recent weeks, Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga has told of leaders undermining the second in command.
Madharau yoyote kwa Rigathi Gachagua ni madharau ya mlima, kweli uongo. Kudhihakiwa ni mlima unadhihakiwa, kweli uongo. As many as of that opinion say aye, the ayes have it.
A seemingly angered Kahiga warned that Mount Kenya leaders will not sit and watch as the DP continues to receive constant attacks, noting that they will stand by him like they did when President William Ruto faced humiliation from the past regime.
Huwa siongei sana, lakini nikiongea ninaomba wanisikilize na wanisikilize vizuri. Hii serikali ilikuwa ya machozi, ilikuwa ya kilio, ilikuwa ya watu wengine kuwekwa jela, ilikuwa ya kukosewa heshima. Let it go down and let it be recorded that we do not want to walk that way again. We stood, we fought, we are together and we pray. Wale ambao wanajaribu, because we know them, wale wanajaribu kuleta bad blood between the president and the deputy president, ambao wameandamana vizuri, we are warning you.
When he stood to address the congregation, Gachagua steered off politics, calling on leaders to focus on service delivery.
Let us bring down political temperatures. Let those who have an opportunity to serve be allowed to serve the people.
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, however, rubbished any claims of rebellion within the ruling coalition, urging Mount Kenya residents to stick behind Gachagua.
Mimi nataka niwaambie huko penye natoka mambo iko sawa sawa. Mambo iko ngangari. Sisi tuko nyuma ya rais na huyu ndugu yetu Rigathi Gachagua. Sisi vijana ambao tumeoa juzi huwa tunapewa paternity leave na annual leave. Mbona watu wengi wanapiga story mingi na Rigiji alikuwa na recharge ndio akirudi sasa asukume Kenya iende mbele akisaidiana na rais. Sina namna hiyo watu wa Nyeri.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
School heads across the country are under instructions to admit in their schools learners affected by floods without conditions. Masini Ichwara, Director of Planning at the State Department for Basic Education, said the Ministry of Education will partner with all schools to ensure that the students who lost their important documents will get them back.
Just a few days after the school's reopening for second term, school heads across the country have been advised to admit learners affected by floods without conditions. Speaking at 15 Primary School in Garissa County, Masini Ichwara, Director of Planning at the State Department for Basic Education, said that the Ministry of Education is putting in efforts to ensure every child goes back to school, as he called on to other stakeholders to come forward and help the government.
We have encouraged the heads of institutions across the region that they need to accommodate those kids who are from other schools who might be affected by the floods. I know some schools will not be reopening soon.
Elsewhere, Malindi Member of National Assembly Amina Mnyazi has pledged to help reconstruct 2 schools affected by floods in her constituency. Speaking during the official handing over of bursary checks to public and private schools at the Malindi Deputy County Commissioner's office, she said that already they are rebuilding the roofs which were destroyed at Karua Primary School as a way of ensuring every child goes back to school.
Inaweza kuathiri Wakenya wote. Kwa hivyo mimi kama kiongozi wenu, wito wangu na maombi yangu kwa watu wa Malindi ni kuambia kwamba hii wakati wa flooding ambao inaendelea sasa hizi, jamani, tuwe waangalifu na tuwe makini.
Finally, we meet Joyce Nungali, a resident of Buruburu Farm who turned her home compound as a shelter for flood victims. Joyce explained that she has decided to take care of those victims until they're stable again, as she called on to other well-wishers to come forth and help the remaining victims.
Mvua ilianza kunyesha, nilisikia ndani yangu nikawa na mwito wa kusaidia watu ambao wameathirika. Na huku nilikuwa nimepanda, kulikuwa na ngwashe, kulikuwa na mahidi. Nikasikia ndani yangu, sababu sina hiyo space kwangu yenye naweza wapeleka. So niliamua na nikaambia Mungu anisaidie, na wasamaria mema wakanisaidia. Tukanunua hizi vitingi za kujenga nyumba. So wakanisaidia, tukaanza kujenga, tukajenga 4 rooms, hizi room 4. Na tukaenda kuwatafuta huko chini, huko choka mahali wameathirika. Ndio tukaenda tukapatana na hawa mama, tukawabeba na wakakuja huku. Sasa ndio nimewajengea hizi, hata sina simiti hizi, ni ile tu harakati ya haraka ndio at least wapate mahali pa kukaa na watoto wao.
Ebikadinyi, Lookuptv.
Kenya has launched the Tetea program in partnership with communities affected by the alarming trends of gender-based violence, with the transit towns along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway being the hardest hit. As Martin Macharia now reports, the initiative, sponsored by the European Union, aims to address the entrenched norms contributing to the crisis.
Combat the surge in early marriages, teenage pregnancies, and gender-based violence along the Nairobi-Nakuru highway. A survey conducted by a local NGO, Keynote, Maimahio, Longonot, Naivasha, and Kikopey towns have been identified as the hardest hit by these social ills, with truck drivers seeking services in these transit hubs exacerbating the situation. A baseline survey conducted by Keynote 2 years ago pinpointed Naivasha and Gilgil as the epicenters of GBV cases, promoting urgent intervention.
We identified areas around Maimahio because most of the time, because of the issues of trucking companies, truck drivers and things like that, areas around Longonot and areas within Gilgil and more so Kikopey. You will find that Kikopey is along the highway, and Maimahio is also along the highway, and Naivasha and Longonot areas are also along the highway. So those are the key areas that we were able to identify as where these issues happen most of the time.
Speaking at a joint declaration gathering in Gilgil, Ochieng Ogutu, a director at Keynote, emphasized the organization's commitment to eradicating negative practices that force girls out of schools due to early pregnancies. He underscored the role of poverty and illiteracy in perpetuating these harmful norms, calling for community-led initiatives to address them.
The main goal of the project is to fight against violence against children and GBV issues that happen within the community. The main key drivers of teenage pregnancy, issues of GBV within the community are mostly the social norms that we have within the community.
Martin Mwaura, also from Keynote, highlighted the significant contribution of truck drivers to the escalating GBV cases in transit towns. He noted that the cases of early marriages, underage pregnancies, and gender-based violence have surged, necessitating collaborative efforts between NGOs and state agencies.
TEA is a project that is basically working towards reducing cases of violence against children and also gender-based violence. This is a project that is funded by European Union. Here in Gilgil, we have quite a number of the hotspots, one of them being where we are here today, Kikope. Kikope, you realize, has a lot of complications contributed to majorly by the transit trucks, and this contributes to a lot of cases of violence against children.
Martin Masharia, Lookuptv.
A section of Pokot elders living in the Olmorana division in Laikipia North in conflict with some government officials whom they claim are planning to evict them from the area. The elders claim some security officers from Olmoran have moved in to force the pastoralists from the area, claiming they are evicting illegal grazers from Baringo County.
Mimi naitwa Julia Lochingamoi. Mimi nimeshangaa sana kwa sababu ya mambo kama haya.
Led by Robert Lokuchot, the Pokot elders claimed that the officers are forcing the pastoralists out of the area under the guise of preventing looming conflict between illegal grazers and farmers. However, the elders claim that only Pokot grazers are being targeted, yet they own land in the area and that there is no tension as claimed.
Kazi imepangwa katika county na laumu county commander na pia na security wote wa Laikipia kwa sababu hii ni njama ya kutaka Wapokot wafurushwe katika Laikipia.
Speaking at Luonyek village in Sosian ward, where they have been camping for the last 3 days, the elders want the government to investigate the claims, alleging that there are some individuals propagating hatred among the pastoralist communities and local farmers.
The county commissioner asimame kama county commissioner, achunguze na kuangalia kabisa, haswa kabisa ni nani ambaye perpetrators ya hii maneno, ambaye waangalie na watu wachunguzwe kwa sababu.
Laikipia MCA Benson Kamara said they are yet to identify where the vacation orders have come from, saying it is putting the communities under unnecessary tension.
Lakati nimekuja hapa kufuatilia maneno ni order imetoka kwa sijui kama ni county commander, county commissioner ama ni OSPD ama ni OCS, DCC. Ng'ombe imesemekana ya kwamba itolewe mahali pale mahali inakula.
Over 700 heads of cattle have been moved from the area towards Amaya and Baringo County, but the livestock owners vowed to return to their farms and now want the government to move with speed and address the matter to avert incidences of incitements to conflict. Beatrice Ndanu, Lookuptv.
So let's talk about top headlines majority of Kenyans are waking up to, other than the news that Arsenal and Man City didn't win the league, or Man United celebrating being number 8 on the table. Let's talk about Limuru 3. Couple of conversations that have come from that. I mean, if you look at what it is they're talking about, you can see the discourse in our meeting. Well, now this meeting didn't have an intention of installing a kingpin in Mount Kenya, but it looked to bring the people of Mount Kenya region to discuss their issues. That is something that was spoken about in this meeting. Complete cracks appeared with one Uhuru Kenyatta being the center stage. I said they agreed to still refer to him as the kingpin. Where does this leave Mount Kenya politics in terms of, one, the position of Rigathi Gachagua in it, the position of Uhuru Kenyatta in it, and is it true that indeed a big section of Kikuyu leaders now are warning one President Dr. William Ruto from undermining the deputy president? Are those the cracks that we are reading from that particular meeting? We talk about it this morning. We do expect to be joined by Eric Wagalo, who's a political analyst. Also in the studio this morning is Joyce Omahio, who is an economist and consultant on good governance. And the one, Eric Mungai. Let's talk about it. Let's also know why President Uhuru Kenyatta's office has not been funded for 2 years straight now. Once we come back, the hashtag is the morning drift. My name is Simba Elijah Charles here. I just see you on the other side of the break.
Save a Life is a non-profit organization that has taken the front line in transforming lives in the entire country. So far, we have transformed life of over 100,000 people through our programs, which include medical support, youth empowerment, street family program, feeding program, and climate change. Join us today as we transform lives. As we always say, service to humanity is service to God. Save a life, transforming lives.
Are you an SME looking for a media partner? Look no more, as Lookuptv got you covered for all your visibility and marketing needs. We at Lookuptv understand your business needs and want to work with you on your marketing journey, giving you solutions that will take you to the next level. Call us today on 0707 572 358 or send an email to sales@lookuptv.co.ke and kickstart this amazing journey. Welcome to Lookuptv, your official SME media partner.
If you want to have a proper outlook of the economy, then you have to speak to the walls and gears of the integral businesses in the country.
And I want to be able to make the youths and everybody coming up in Kenya know that this is here locally.
Men and women in the thick of the bust of markets rising and falling, fighting to make their business decisions stick.
I've always lived in my career that I can never be late.
You need to train by yourself. You need to practice by yourself. Then from there you can compose yourself and give kind of services like this.
On season 2 of the Captain's Arena, we seek the inside of the minds, predict the shift in the markets, get inspiration to start and make sense of it all.
Just watch what everybody else is doing and just make sure you're giving back to the society.
Oof. This is the Captain's Arena.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia. Sasa tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hao sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi man.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali na Manjoro. Kumbuka hapa ndipo unajifunza mambo mengi kuhusu ukulima. Kilimo ni uti wa mgongo wa nchi, na ukiwa na Njoro unajifunza. Kumbuka, angalia mwenyewe. Tunakuambia ukitaka kujua tips za ukulima, ungana na sisi kwenye Lookup TV. Every Sunday unatukuta pale saa 10, tunakuonesha kuhusu ukulima. Ukulima wa mimea, ukulima wa ng'ombe, ukulima wa kuku, ukulima wa mbuzi na yote ambayo yanahusiana na ukulima. Kumbuka nini? Kipindi ni ukulima ni mali.
My name is Catherine, aka Mom Kate. I'm the center admin.
I'm Maureen Modoni, aka Mom Joshua. I'm the center manager.
We have 35 employees. We have
65 children.
65 children. The oldest is Alan. And the youngest is baby Cecilia, who's 2 weeks. She was abandoned in Kawangware. We depend 100% on donors. God bless them so much. Were it not for you guys, we will not be here today.
Nimefurahi venye Loto imekuja Angel Center.
Every time you play Lotto, 25% goes to the Lotto Foundation, which supports our fellow Kenyans through various causes. Thank you for your help. Together, we are changing lives.
Are you a junior secondary school, a college, a TVET institution or a university and you want to advertise your intake? Book now and advertise with us today on both Lookuptv and all our digital platforms. Call us today. Or email us on sales@lookuptv.co.ke. Start your day with a workout routine, an exciting moment of exercise that is simple but powerful for your ultimate fitness. Build your strength, shape and body muscles with lunges, push-ups, squats, burpees, planks, dumbbells and more. Let's work out every Monday to Saturday from 6:30 a.m. on Fitness Zone, a one surefire way to attack your fitness regimen effectively.
At Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. My name is Simba Elijah Charles here again. Welcome to the Morning Drift. We'll be with you all the way up to 9:30 a.m. this morning. We'll get to talk to you, or we get to discuss the major issues that are in the country right now. Well, top of what we want to discuss about is the notes that we've seen from the Limuru 3 meeting. Joining me this morning then is one Mr. Mungai. Eric, how are you doing, sir?
Well, good morning, Simba.
Good morning.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a minute.
The safe hands of Ian.
Yes.
I think he could not also stand the heat. I hope you've come back prepared.
Here's the thing, I'm quite energized. I'm ready.
Especially because the elephant was on the table, the tortoise. And I told you, when you see an elephant on the table, someone must have put it there.
Placed it there. But either way, it is what it is. Happy to see you.
I hope you don't share the frustrations that are being shared. I think Limuru 3 was a bad omen, even to the elephants. This is the challenge of doing funny things. You know, choices have consequences.
Does it?
So you start frustrations from Limuru 3 all the way to the top. Is it the top of the table now? But good morning to our viewers. It's a good Monday.
You have a big,
and the sun is out.
Does it? The sun is out.
Yeah.
It's the thing, you have a big task just to put the Limuru 3 conversations into perspective. You and I have spoken about this over and over again. And on this issue for kingpinship, you and I have spoken about it again. It's a good thing it was brought out in the light. So be ready to talk about it, because we kept on asking you who's a kingpin, and you said it. Guess what? Hopefully this morning we shall be coming up with those clips for one Mr. Mungai when he was declaring on himself on who the kingpin for the Mount Kenya region is. So probably this morning is going to talk to the Kikuyu elders who blew the horn 12 times, and we'll be getting a meaning of what that was. Good. Joining him then this morning, we do have Joyce Omayo. How are you doing? Missed you too as well.
To energize. I don't know whether it's you who came with the bad luck of Arsenal seeing it but not touching it.
But no. We are not gonna breathe this morning. But guess what?
They had no Arsenal.
I'm also wondering whether we have a trophy for number 2.
It should be there.
I think
it should
we
be
should
there.
petition the powers that be that
That's it.
that we have
at least
the
you know
for number 2, so that our enemies, the Manchester United, can sit comfortable. But basically, this week was good.
That's it.
Yesterday was a great day in the Catholic Church. We had the day of the Pentecost, the day for enhancing RAF, and RAF even to the flood victims, RAF even to the desperate, the needy.
That's it.
So to me, it's a continuation of a good week that I intend to still to show RAF to my enemies, including the Manchester City.
That's it.
Hey, thank you so much. Welcome back.
We share in those enmity.
Yes.
I don't understand how they would sit and watch them winning again. And we did our part as us. No, I don't.
True.
I don't understand it. Anyway, away from that, let's then lay background to this conversation that we have for you this morning. And the only better way to do it is just to go back and watch the Limuru 3 scaffolds story that is going to be opening our discussion this morning. Let's take a look at it. Once we come back, then we table a conversation around it.
Nyama yenyewe ilienda na watu wengine. Sasa watu wa Mount Kenya lazima wajadiliane, wajue tutaendelea namna gani. Na kwa hivyo vile tumekuja leo, tunataka tuongee ndio tutoke hapa na msimamo mmoja kama watu mmoja, vile tutaendelea kama jamii na kuzingatia kabisa njia za kutatua mashida zetu tukiwa kitu moja na kushikamana tukiwa watu wamoja.
Hao wenye wanazunguka wakisema sijui Limuru 3, Limuru 2, sisi tunawaambia sasa wakati ambapo tuko kazini. Na siasa, wakati wa siasa itakuja. Wakati wa kupanga siasa itafika. Lakini sasa sisi hatuko hapo mahali ya Limuru 3, sisi tuko katika wakati wa kazi. Na ndio naona tukizunguka tukifanya kazi. Watu wa Kirinyaga hawana haja na ukabila. Watu wa Mount Kenya hawana haja na ukabila. Hao wanataka kujua kama wakiuza avocado iko na soko.
Tulienda kuwinda sisi wote kwa uchaguzi, tukapata swala ndio hiyo ikapatikana, lakini sisi watu wa mlima tulipewa matumbo. Nyama yenyewe ilienda na watu wengine. Sasa watu wa Mount Kenya lazima wajadiliane, wajue tutaendelea namna gani. Na kwa hivyo vile tumekuja leo, tunataka tuongee ndio tutoke hapa na msimamo mmoja kama watu mmoja, vile tutaendelea kama jamii na kuzingatia kabisa njia za kutatua mashida zetu tukiwa kitu moja na kushikamana tukiwa watu wamoja.
Hao wenye wanazunguka wakisema sijui Limuru 3, Limuru 2, sisi tunawaambia sasa wakati ambapo tuko kazini. Na siasa, wakati wa siasa itakuja. Wakati wa kupanga siasa itafika. Lakini sasa sisi hatuko hapo mahali ya Limuru 3, sisi tuko katika wakati wa kazi. Na ndio naona tukizunguka tukifanya kazi. Watu wa Kirinyaga hawana haja na ukabila. Watu wa Mount Kenya hawana haja na ukabila. Hao wanataka kujua kama wakiuza avocado iko na soko. Majani chai ina bei nafuu. Kahawa imeuzwa vile inatakikana. Kama iwe huyo mwenye wizara hiyo ametoka wapi, hiyo sio shida yetu. Shida yetu kama watu wa Mlima Kenya ni kuwa tunashughulikiwa na wale ambao tumechagua.
That's it. We're going to keep on referring to that meeting. There's so many conversations that have come up to the point now that we have to talk about it. And there's so much to draw from that particular meeting? First of all, then let's speak to the man himself, Mr. Mungai. You know, even this meeting had divided opinions. Like, some people are saying it's a useless meeting. What are you doing? You don't have to attend. That this meeting, we don't need it. That the agenda within the Mount Kenya region is known. The kingpins for the Mount Kenya regions are known. We don't need it. Let's begin from now. An important meeting for the Mount Kenya leaders.
I think this was the Limuru 3, in my opinion, was akin to someone punching in the dark.
Yes.
You punch hoping to latch on to something. You really don't know what's out there, but you hope somehow by punching around you'll hit something. And in my opinion, Limuru 3 was an anticlimax, so to speak. It's like when you promise a lady, you know, you're dating and you're courting, and you keep promising the lady fireworks, you know. You keep proclaiming prowess, you know, vigor.
It cannot deliver.
Vitality, but then when you're given the opportunity on the D-Day, you cannot rise to the occasion. I think that was Limuru 3 for you. They you know, when you bring the villagers together and they are hungry, and you tell them that you're going to hunt on their behalf, and they allow you to go, and when you go to the farm, you find a big elephant.
Yes.
And by a big elephant, I do not mean arsenal. And you crouch down with your rifle and aim. And when you aim, you pull the trigger. And every time you pull the trigger, there is nothing. Every time you pull the trigger, there is nothing.
Yes.
So when you go back to the villagers, what do you tell them? Because you go back empty-handed. And I think that's Limuru 3 for you. A lot of pomp, a lot of flair, but there are no bullets in their arsenal.
Does it? Anyway, I'll be coming back to you because we're going to draw back to that. And then for every other person wondering why Mungai keeps on referring to us, no, I've got no idea. Absolutely. I'll be making reference. I'll be Googling why Arsenal keeps on appearing in his statements this morning. I completely have no idea. Joyce.
Yes.
Was it an important meeting?
I find it quite tricky because the meeting did not deliver.
Yes.
It is important for communities to talk. So the timing is not about, the Limuru was not about the timing. It was about settling personal scores.
Yes.
Communities can talk. We do not need Limuru for communities, for Kikuyus to talk, or even members from Mount Kenya to talk. But here we have in the background of emotional issues that are emotive to to Ajiko, emotive issues to the Azimio readers. Members from the Azimio feels that one, Baba should charge this process. That Baba is going for his personal benefits and not the corrective discussion. So then we bring in Limuru 3 to hit back at Baba because Baba is being seen to be pro the government, not the terms of engagement for Azimio. We also have at the background of the Kenya Kwanza government, we have the deputy president who is being sidelined for several purposes and for several reasons. So again, Limuru 3 comes out as a good platform for hitting back at several unmet promises, both on the coalition, both on the opposition side, on the government side. The issues that were discussed notwithstanding, to me, I found it that the villagers went home more sad than they came in. NADCO report. These leaders from the Azimio want an article report to be discussed so that they can secure their positions.
Yes.
And when article report is not being discussed, then their pay slips are still empty. So the only way you can push for the article report to be discussed and discussed fast is bring in some hot airs and throw in a lot of bulbs so that your pay slip can be secure. For the villagers who came in and expected to be given some bus fare and small bus fare was reimbursed, again, they felt that was not what was supposed to be delivered. To me, the organizers of the Limuru 3, you came out very, very early. You do not expect to achieve much when you have emotion, when you are discussing tangible issues but full of emotions.
Yes.
You don't secure anything, but you're praying to the public gallery. I'm sure there are resolutions that were made that will be enhanced and discussed in the future, but on the strength of Limuru 3, it was a big flopper.
Does it?
Yes.
Pretty much. Now that we have that out, let's talk about the issues that have come out of Limuru 3. And I will start like this. It was on the leadership within the Mount Kenya region, because Mungai, when you're calling people for a meeting, I mean, and you're saying that this region needs to have a direction, at least in politics, the leadership of that particular region has to come to the fore. That every other leader who stood up to speak, Mr. Mungai, it was essentially hitting one, Uhuru Kenyatta, Mother Karua, among the organizers of the Limuru 3, and it was a pit against RUTO allies and Uhuru Kenyatta allies. So why organize a meeting that is supposed to talk about the development of that region, the direction that we need to go, whether indeed we do have a grip in terms of socio-political economy? And it turns out to be a scaffold between the two sides, which is what I want to ask you this morning. Because if you look at the headlines, and if you can, then Sheila, you take us to the Standard this morning, there is a direct warning of a section of Kikuyu leaders to RUTO this morning. Stop invading one DP Rigathi Gachagua. And you and I have sat here, and I've asked you over and over again, who is the kingpin for the Mount Kenya region? I mean, for a region that seems to have direction. Well, in that meeting, Mungai, where there were prominent leaders from Kikuyu the community, it wasn't clear. It wasn't clear. So where do you find the words and the terms to declare one DP Rigathi Gachagua as a kingpin of the central region? Let's start from that.
Yes, before I go into declare Rigathi Gachagua the kingpin,
Yes.
which in my opinion he is, let me explain why in my opinion I feel this Mount Kenya Limuru 3 was an anticlimax.
Yes.
Let me explain why. First and foremost, one of the reasons I believe it was an anticlimax is because at the end of it, in their declarations, they declared that their direction would come from the former president Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, why is that in itself an anticlimax? It is an anticlimax because there is a general expectation amongst societies that there is need for progressive political agenda.
Yes.
That we cannot drive forward by keeping on looking at the back. What I expected the meeting to come up with was to declare either Mother Karua or Jeremiah Kioni as the kingpins of Mount Kenya region or as their political leader. Why? If you look at the Mount Kenya governance system, the last time we had a political division was when we had Stanley Jindo Matiba and Kibaki. And after that, if you recall, the people of Mount Kenya moved forward. You know, you don't keep on looking back. And you recall when there was an opportunity for the people of Mount Kenya to make a decision between Kibaki
Yes.
and Uhuru Kenyatta, we decisively went for Mwai Kibaki then. And it's not to say that we did not believe in Uhuru Kenyatta. Now, when President Mwai Kibaki retired and he went back to, where did he go? Nyeri.
Othaya.
Othaya. Muiga. When he went back to Muiga,
Yes.
The people of Mount Kenya did not look back. We appreciated what Kibaki had done for us, but it was time for us to move forward. And in our moving forward is when one Mishuki declared that our leader now, for anyone who wanted to consult on the things of Mount Kenya, would have to consult Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And so the people of Mount Kenya bestowed upon Uhuru Kenyatta the mantle. Okay? Let us move from there. And I say, and I give these examples because we are a community that moves forward and progresses. What I expected now in the Limuru 3 was not retrogression, it would have been progression. Progression in the sense that we appreciate what Uhuru Kenyatta did for us as a community, but we cannot keep looking back and installing him as our kingpin as if there is a vacuum in terms of political leadership. The highest political office that exists right now is one of the deputy president.
Yes.
That is the highest political office that exists now. The highest ranking member of Mount Kenya, as we speak now politically, is the deputy president Rigathi Gachagua. And therefore, if Limuru 3, so to speak, was a parallel meeting, and if Limuru 3 in itself was a breakaway faction from the people of Mount Kenya, then they would have agreed that they would have installed one of them. Because it's not to say that Kioni does not have leadership capacity or Mother Karua has leadership. They do. They would have bestowed either of them to take over the mantle. Secondly, Limuru 3 should have encompassed the people of Mount Kenya. What they did was that the farthest they went is Kirinyaga, where Mother Karua comes from. If you look at the composition of the attendees, it was only Mother Karua who came from Kirinyaga. That is as far as they went, and Nyeri, because of the former deputy governor of Nyeri. That is as far as they went. But Mount Kenya is made of Tharaka Nithi, is made of the people of Meru, is made of the people of Embu. We extend Mount Kenya all the way to Nakuru. In Nakuru we have different tribes. They form part of Mount Kenya. And so the least expectation was that even these communities would have formed part of the conveners and part of the attendees. Did that happen? No. Thirdly, when you look at Jeremiah Kioni, and when you look at, let me stick to Jeremiah Kioni. Yes. When you look at Jeremiah Kioni, you might be forgiven to think that he's an angel. Rather, he's a saint. But is that what history tells us? No. The people who were instrumental in destroying our party, which was Jubilee, is none other than Jeremiah Kioni, the former Nyeri MP, Gojiri Wambogo, and Kanini Kega, the Yala MP. Those three people and Uhuru Kenyatta were instrumental in destroying Jubilee. I can tell you for a fact, there are many politicians today in Mount Kenya who are crying, who are weeping, who are wailing. Why? Courtesy of the fact that those four gentlemen collected money from aspirants and they went ahead to issue certificates to the highest bidders, not necessarily to the most popular candidates. So when we speak about coming to equity with clean hands, the people represented at that table did not have any clean hands whatsoever. Now, fourth, why I think that meeting was an anticlimax is because the issues that they spoke to, I would have expected that there would have been elected representatives of the people in the meeting. Why? Because even though the Constitution under Article 1 gives us the right to either represent ourselves as Kenyans or delegate that to someone else, there was an expectation that our elected leaders would have formed part of either the conveners or the attendees. Except for Gathoni wa Mushomba, who stood on the podium and made wild allegations, I do not see how elected leaders were represented in that meeting.
Yes.
Lastly, is to say that there is a genuine need to be honest as people of Mount Kenya. And honesty starts with us asking ourselves, we have leaders that we have elected in Mount Kenya at the highest cadre of government. We have the majority leader, Kimani Ichung'wah. We have budget chairman, Ndindi Nyoro. We have finance committee chair in Kuria. Okay? We have the deputy president in Rigathi Gachagua. We have the attorney general in Justin Muturi. Okay? You're keeping the count. We have chair transport committee in the name of Karongo Athang'wa. When it comes to the share of this government, realistically and honestly,
yes,
the people of Mount Kenya are well represented. Now, if there is disquiet amongst the people of Mount Kenya, we must ask ourselves what the leaders have contributed towards that disquietment. I can tell you for a fact, right now, getting a person like Kimani Ichung'wah to sit on the table on behalf of the community is a very difficult thing. Do we have anyone to blame as people of Mount Kenya? No. Why? We voted for them. So if they are not taking over the mantle,
yes,
then that's you know, really it is ourselves who shot ourselves on the foot. Because when you look at a person like Kimani Ichung'wah, you can tell they have taken a nationalistic approach, which is okay. I mean they are national leaders. But Simba, even if we make you a national leader today, you have a responsibility to your own family. Your wife cannot be asking and your children cannot be asking for stuff, and you keep reminding them that, you know, I'm a national leader. Those things you're asking for, I cannot bring them to you. Don't you see I'm a national leader? Yes. I mean, that's not how it works.
That's it.
But as I said, I've just explained why I think Limuru 3 was an anticlimax.
Yes.
But that is not to say the issues they raised were not important.
That's it. Here's the thing, Joyce, but I have to keep on making reference to that because we're going to come back to Mungai just to for him to put his sentiments into proper perspective. Because for people who are looking from outside, inside, they saw more than what Mungai just described here this morning. We just want to give you the list of the top leaders who attended that particular meeting. That was Mother Karua, Jubilee Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni, former Laikipia Governor Ndiritu Mureithi, and Embakasi West Member of Parliament Mark Mwenje. Others were the Member of Parliament Gathoni Wamishomba, Starehe Member of Parliament Amos Mwago, former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu, and vocal lawyer Ndegwa Njiru. Now, if you look at that particular meeting, the analysis was this, and I will put it out, that the wish for majority of Mount Kenya leaders is that they would have loved to attend. But then, when they looked around, they said, me being at that particular meeting will send the wrong message. And this was the message, that if you are there as an elected leader, your voice on the stand of leadership in Mount Kenya had to come out. That you had to come in and say, well, indeed, in Mount Kenya, Uhuru Kenyatta is a kingpin. So you being there as a leader, you would have essentially said Rigathi Gachagua is not the kingpin. Like you had to take that stance. Is that why majority of leaders, Moses Kuria involved, essentially decided to be a no-show, even after he came out clearly and said, I do not agree with Rigathi Gachagua. And that's what we're going to get with Mungai. That Moses Kuria says, this story for kingpinship is neither here nor there. And in fact, any other person who says that as the Mount Kenya region, if you have a problem, come speak to me, I disagree with them. So why is it that Mungai says very well that indeed currently as it is, our kingpin is Rigathi Gachagua, when the closest people to the president, all the people who are coming from that region are saying, well, it doesn't make sense for him to declare himself a kingpin. We are people from this region, and when we have our issues, we will solve them. It doesn't need to be the reference point. Is that Moses Kuria essentially telling Rigathi Gachagua, you're not the kingpin? Joyce.
I see several perspectives into this discussion, Raida. When the past leadership leaves office, it literally means past leadership.
Yes.
it does not mean deferred leadership. It means past leadership. Here we have several faces and several forces.
Yes.
That want to control an emotive community that has been harassed severely. These are big boys who are fighting, and when the big boys fight Elijah, you need to be very careful. Anybody there would wish to be named as the kingpin. Moses Kuria in the past has termed himself as Jabayar already. You know, the young man of the young warrior from the mountain. DP himself is the highest Kikuyu leader, is the highest Mount Kenya leader in the community. The fourth president of this Republic of Kenya,
yes,
still a young man in his 60s, still believes he's the big boy in this field. So we have several forces,
yes,
that are controlling this discussion and this direction.
Yes.
So when we have the Limuru 3, everybody needs to show that I'm in charge. And if I'm not in charge,
yes,
then it will be a no-show for me. Look at the Mount Kenya leadership. 90% of Mount Kenya leadership comes from the UDA.
Does it?
And today, anybody in the Mount Kenya belongs to the UDA. You cannot go to a meeting whereby you are publicly harassing your boss. So why did we not see several members, elected members of Mount Kenya? Because most of them are in the UDA. And going to the Limuru 3 meant that you're not now in the UDA leadership. You've jumped ship. So strategically elected members of the Mount Kenya,
yes,
could not attend. You know, we need to underline this. Could not attend Limuru 3.
Yes.
What was being discussed, notwithstanding, they could not attend. Look at the leadership of the persons who went there. Mwenje, Ebakasi, Mwago, Starehe, Wamushoba in Githogori. The only 3 elected members of parliament went there. And what have been their position in the National Assembly? They've always joined with the opposition. So we expected Limuru 3 was like a message from the opposition against the government. So you asking the leadership of Mount Kenya, why yes, they did not show? They could not have gone against their leader.
Yes.
Allow me to say this. Last week, Moses Kuria told Rigathi Gachagua on a Sunday, immediately after he was through with the SCK leadership installation of a bishop in Mount Kenya. Rigathi Gachagua and Moses Kuria were back in the screens fighting. And this is the wise words that came from Moses Kuria. That Rigathi, you are in government. You do not need to tell us to go to the public domain and tell us 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. You're in the government. You only need to ask your boss to convene a cabinet meeting to literally deal with this issue of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling.
Does it?
So literally, Gachagua also going to the public was also praying with us. Because why? You in the government, why are you going back to tell the people we need this? No, yes, you only need to enforce the same.
Does that?
So it shows that there's poor leadership, poor governance between the head of this country.
Yes.
And his lieutenants. And his lieutenants, all of them are reading from different pages. Nobody is reading from the same script. When we go back to last week, but one, there was a function at in Muranga, and Didi Nyoro came with a chopper and gave to that family 1 million and said the president had sent 1 million to him, through him. Then immediately they realized the man from Madeira was coming to that village. They took off with their choppers. And then the man from Madeira came in. Elijah, this is not Greek, that we need to go to school to learn Greek.
Mm-hmm.
These are all members from one political party fighting each other. So when Limuru 3 is convened,
yes,
we are trying to send a message to
yes,
the leadership of Kenya Kwanza that you are literally creating a lot of war and division in this party and in this region. And that is why Limuru 3 was not meant to address that issue. It was meant to address the big rift between 1, Deputy President, 2, Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta 3 and the president himself. Look at the president. Look at the fourth president. It is only yesterday in the deal in the Southern Nation that we saw that his office had been denied funds for 2 years, for 2 financial years. His office have not received a single coin from the exchequer. So, by coincidence, we do not have coincidences in life. That Limuru 3 endorses the son of this great lady called Gena as the kingpin of Mount Kenya. And yet on Sunday, we see that this office have not received funds. What does that statement tell you, Elijah? That either the sponsor of Limuru 3 was not Wajiko herself, the issues of Wajiko, was somebody else. Why are you going to install a past leadership? Do you want to tell me that there are no present leaders who can take up the mantle of leadership? Does it mean that leadership can only come from one person and one person only? Look at what happens in the boards of management of or governors from different institutions. When you leave office, you are delegated to be a trustee. Why did they endorse Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta as a trustee and not the kingpin himself? So, to me, the message at Limuru 3, why it was a cropper? Because it failed to address the issues of Wajiko. Something else before you forget, Elijah. When the elders rose, no, the same elders that had requested Kalonzo Musyoka to visit their villages on the month of end of March or early April. They asked Kalonzo Musyoka to deal with the charter of the A in Gema, that is their Kamba. But on Friday when they went to Limuru, they blew 12 horns. Why? Nine representing the daughters of Mumbi, and 3 for the unity between the Agikoyo, the Meru, and the Embu. Why did they isolate the A? So you see, the message from Limuru did not resonate with the past issues that have been going on. So to me, I find that it was hypocrisy of the highest order. If you needed to address the issues, these are members that have been elected by Wajiko to literally deal with the issues, even to represent Wajiko and non-formal institutions like even Limuru 3. We have the issue of taxation, Elijah. That was creating a lot of heat. So in essence, if the Mount Kenya leadership felt that we needed to address issues raised by Wajiko through Limuru 3, then it should have been a holistic group with a holistic message and one message. So, Mother Karua, you are fighting, you came to Limuru 3 because you feel Baba did not join you up. When Baba was receiving his goodies, Mother, you've not received their goodies. Limuru 3 was brought up by Kioni because he felt that his Sufuria movement had been taken under the water. It was swept by the floods, so it's no longer relevant. So it is the issue of relevance of leadership of Limuru 3 to Muredi. He's fighting because the leadership of Laikipia County is a cropper today. So he wants to keep on reminding the people of Laikipia that you brought in Governor Joshua Irungu, who is not delivering, and you kept me off. So these are issue people who are bringing their personal agendas, not the community agendas.
Pretty much. Now, the set has been set. Mungai, quick questions that I want you to respond to. That the best thing for an elected leader within the UDA government, that the best option downright would have been to attend that meeting. But then, if they're going to talk about the issues that are affecting the people of Mount Kenya in terms of development, they were essentially going to be told about the failures of the UDA government from delivering their promise to the people of Mount Kenya. So the best option is really not to attend then. Number two, that if you're going to attend, Mungai, the question of who is the kingpin in the Mount Kenya region is not a secret. It's known that DP Rigathi Gachagua is having problems enforcing himself as a kingpin of the Mount Kenya region. So either way, if you keep quiet, it then would mean that you're saying indeed it's Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Is that why majority of Mount Kenya elected leaders said, not a good place to go. Do you know why? Majority of observations is that when it came to giving opinions outside the meeting, majority of elected leaders have given their opinions on it, but they said we're not going to attend.
Simba, there are 4 factions in Mount Kenya.
Does it?
There is the faction of Limuru 3.
Mm-hmm.
There is the faction that swears allegiance to the deputy president.
Yes.
There is a faction that swears allegiance to the president.
Does it?
And there is a faction, it's sort of a fulcrum of Moses Kuria. For that one, he doesn't have any followers, but he's a rabble rouser. He goes to whichever side he feels the bread is buttered. Now, one of the things I admire about the current president is that politically he's very suave. He knows how to handle politics. Why?
Yes,
because covertly he has ensured that Mount Kenya is not able to coalesce covertly. And I say covertly because, you know, it's not an open hand. So, and why I see the hand of the president is because Ndindi Nyoro has gone to several fundraisers. And when he donates 1 million, he's been donating 1 million and above. He says that it is the president who has sent him.
Yes.
Including to events that the deputy president himself was supposed to attend. And that has been the trajectory. There were members of parliament who used to follow the deputy president, such as Wamaua.
Mm-hmm.
But today, when he went to Nyeri yesterday, they were not part of his entourage. I think like 6 MPs. Yet they had gone to see off the president when the president was going off to Rwanda. And so, cleverly, there has been sort of, even someone like Kionjori. Kionjori right now is bashing the deputy president right, left and center. And so there is that faction that has been swearing allegiance to the deputy president, which has now gone to the president.
Yes.
Now, it sort of weakens the deputy president politically. And in a means to come back is when the deputy president had to come back to the 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling. But I'll tell you one thing for a fact.
Yes.
You know, sometimes you do not have to fight physically for you to be considered strong. There are many ways you can get to the end by being crafty and, you know, by just applying your political mind. Why is that so? The deputy president needs to re-strategize. He actually needs to re-strategize, yes, because the way it is going...
Mungai, even before you talk about that strategy, just before you talk about that strategy for the DP, let me put you in the shoes of elected leaders. There's a proper meeting here. I mean, the people from your community turned out in large numbers to that meeting. That would have been a perfect platform for you to attend and talk about the good things that you're doing for your community. I mean, it was right there, Mungai. I mean, and the agenda of the meeting was talk about the socio-economic development of the community. That could have been a right moment for you to attend. The people were there. Could have you attended, Mungai, if you're an elected leader from
I wouldn't
the
have
community?
attended.
Why?
Because you know, typically that was a kamukunji. It's sort of a village elders baraza. They were just a bunch of disgruntled former members of parliament. You know, former leaders of political parties like Jeremiah Kioni.
Mm-hmm.
Typically the people that the people said no to. So it wasn't relevant. That is why I did not attend. Because why would I attend a meeting where we are going to crown Uhuru Kenyatta the kingpin? Yet Uhuru has retired and is busy enjoying his retirement. I mean, they were better off crowning Mother Karua. I mean, it would have made more sense. So from that perspective, I wouldn't have gone. Secondly,
but you see, that's the point. That by you not being present, then it happened. And now it's up to you to change again the perspective. I mean, it was right there. So yes, your side is true. And that's what majority of observers are saying, that your side is true. I mean, you didn't have to attend it, but then it gave the rest of the leaders within the Kenya Kwanza government, within that particular region, a perfect opportunity, Mungai, for you who believes that Rigathi Gachagua is the kingpin, to go in and say, no, it's got to be him. But that was an opportunity then.
No. It would have been worse for the deputy president if the faction from the president had attended, because then it would have been very clear. But when the village elders attend a meeting, and the disgruntled village elders, I mean, it should not shake the whole location. Those are things beneath the deputy president's cadre.
Tarzan, number two, that the only reason as to why majority of elected leaders did not attend that particular function is that it came at a time when there's a controversial finance bill 2024 that majority of Kenyans are questioning the government on why they want to implement it, and all the unfulfilled promises that we've seen across the region, that could have been a perfect opportunity to go for that particular meeting. That on the ground, currently as it is, majority of people in the community are disgruntled. So it would have been a defense for the government's action.
It is true, people are disgruntled.
Yes.
But the platform to air disgruntlement was not Limuru 3. You see, I'm telling you, Limuru 3 itself, okay, personally, why I think it was a charade is because you don't go to endorse, you know, part of, actually the biggest beef I have with Limuru 3 is endorsing the former president. Because what that does, it removes away everything else you are discussing and it sets it on a political angle.
Yes.
So now everyone sees, okay, so now Uhuru is back, Uhuru is the one using Omudhoni wa Gashomba to fight the current president.
Yes.
So now it completely removes every other agenda that you are discussing. It makes it a political agenda, which looks bad on the former president because now we know he's the one who financed it. It looks very bad when the former president organizes a meeting which is attended by Waitito. And remember, the president, Uhuru Kenyatta, had sworn to make sure that Waitito is jailed.
Would you like to say allegedly organized it? Because up to now...
It was not alleged. How do people crown you in a meeting where you are absent? It is not alleged.
Yes.
He was the financier. No, he who pays... What does that... He who pays the piper.
Yes.
The tune.
Does that, Mungai, here's the thing.
That is why they crowned him.
Just hold on. Here's you. Just before I cross over to Ragalo, by the way, Ragalo, good morning.
Morning.
We've seen you this morning. Here's it. But you and I have sat here, and I want to remind you, Mungai, I don't want you to eat your words this morning because we're making sense of that particular meeting. You've sat on the same chair where you seated this morning, and you've said it looks as if there is something going on in the background between Uhuru Kenyatta and DP Rigathi Gachagua. Remember the famous apology. You also said that this is not by accident. No, there is somebody who's actually saying, look here, I am truly sorry. So how is it then, you saying that it's not by accident, then the same man who was apologized to just a couple of months ago is again now wanting that position that you so want? As to, that's why we had the apology. Can you make sense of that, Mungai?
Look, the deputy president is not looking for any position. The reason why the deputy president apologized was to reach out across the other divide.
The position of the kingpin for the Mount Kenya region, see, which currently, as it is, as opposed to the Limuru meeting, it doesn't have it.
You need to understand something.
Yes.
Unlike other communities, Mount Kenya does not sit down to crown anyone. We don't do that. In fact, our system historically is a system of elders. That is our system.
Yes.
There is nowhere where anyone crowned Kibaki. There is nowhere where anyone crowned Uhuru. We have a consensus as a community that this is the direction we need to take. And that is why I explained on this show. And I told you, as a community, we do not have business keeping on going backwards. Uhuru Kenyatta was a good leader while it stood, when the time was there. He is now gone. I mean, when your mother dies, you cannot keep going to cry on the grave every day. Life has to move on.
So why apologize to a man who's got no hunch on anything that
you apologize when it is tactical, because your goal is not to reach the man. Your goal is to reach the people behind the man.
Yes. Has it failed then? Has it failed?
No, he has not failed.
Because if you're saying that the apology is tactical, then if indeed you did that grand apology and you said, I'm so sorry, Mama, I'm so sorry, bro, I'm so sorry, and then a couple of months later you're saying that the same man sponsors a meeting too for his appointment, as it failed. Yes.
Let Ragalo
yes.
Allow me.
Ragalo, good morning.
If you know,
tell us why you came in,
Okay, sorry, I came late because I had to be called for an emergency.
All right, okay.
Thank you.
Yes.
I want to support Eric in that the people who are fighting the DP then, even the bloggers per se, they are never fighting him. They're actually helping him now. There's a blogger, a lady blogger, who now writes very nice things about the second lady.
You can actually call her them.
Yeah. Then there is a gentleman who was bashing, it's called Dhuku, he was bashing DP rights left and center. Nowadays he doesn't write anything bad.
Yes.
And I can tell you he has managed, because all the bashing that was done in Kiambu, per se, Kabuku, in Limuru, was only done to the president, not to the DP.
Yes.
Initially, this same azimio azimio group in Mount Kenya would only fight the DP. Right now, they are not even holding on the DP. Apparently, I was even surprised that they pulled in Raila's name. Somehow, somewhat, Raila's name had to appear. And it was so bad that they even said that the NADCO is meant for Raila, to put Raila into the seat, to get his money, to have his offices, and to have ministries, and that was done by Wamushomba. Can't you see it's tactical? Politic of alienation. The same group that was seated there, minus Wamushomba, were the group that was supporting Raila. Now Wamushomba comes in and bashes Raila for 2 minutes and uses the dialect in Kikuyu, which we all hear and listen to, and we talk, how Raila is working with RUTO, putting the community into the mindset that Raila is working with RUTO to sacrifice or to punish or to make them suffer. If you look at that, what is it not if it's political alienation? So what was the reason? And I keep asking, what was the reason? We know Limuru 1 was done. The reason was not even development.
Yes.
The reason of Limuru 1 was to fight Oginga Odinga. The reason of Limuru 2 in 2012 was to ensure Raila does not go to the seat and put Raila as the person who is taking Uhuru RUTO to Hague. Whereas they are the ones who said, let's not be vague, let's go to Hague.
Yes.
When Raila wanted local tribunal, they put themselves into the Hague aeroplane, yet they turned it on Baba and said Baba is taking them to Hague because Baba wants to be the president. The community ate the lie and hated on Raila, didn't vote Raila.
Yes.
Now they have started a narrative through Wamushomba that Raila has ameshikana na nani na RUTO to make them suffer. And she used the name. So what is that if it is not politic of alienation? The other thing I would ask, politic of alienation and isolation. The other isolation I'll talk is the Gema, the Akamba. Today, you say Akamba are part of Gema, and you remove the name association and fix Kamba. You use the name Akamba to fix Kamba. That day comes, Akamba are not there. It is the whole, so Kikuyu, Embu and Meru. If Meru are really there and Kikuyu are really there, and Embu are really there, that was not Gema. They said they were calling Mount Kenya communities. In Mount Kenya communities, how many do we have? Did you see a Borana there? Did you see a Maasai there? Don't you have Maasais? If you look at Mount Kenya communities, you can Google. I haven't Googled, but you can Google. There are actually 4 major Mount Kenya communities. The Kikuyu, the Embu, the Meru, the Embu which takes Mbere and what have you, the Meru that takes even Chuka people and Tharakanithi. Then we have Maasai. You can Google Mount Kenya, dominant Mount Kenya communities in Mount Kenya. Maasai is there. Did you see Maasai? How many Luos were there? How many Luyas? Kisis? So Mount Kenya is only meant for per se 90% one community, 10% others. The dialect was not Kiswahili, it was pure Mount Kenya language. You know which one, the dominant language. So they were talking in a language that they can talk themselves. So others were blocked off. Politics of isolation. Other communities don't live there. Then, if we wanted to talk of development and what is happening, financial problems, if it was economical, We had economical problems in Homa Bay. What happened in Homa Bay? The governor and other governors in Luoland, they called the socio-economic forum and development forum in Homa Bay.
Yes.
Who are present? The opposition, Raila and the other team, actually Kalonzo was the person, was the convener, was the chair of that. Okay? Was the president there? Yes, RUTO went. Then why didn't RUTO come? Because it was not political. It was developmental. Call us, we talk. If your problem is maize, we'll talk maize. And Chinya Pandehi, the president will say, hey, PS Finance, PS Labor, PS Agriculture, kindly you convene a meeting and see how we can sort the maize issue in this region. That will not hurt the economy of Kenya, it will not hurt the farmer, it will make everybody happy. If we had a problem here of finance, Bill 2013 and now the coming 2014, was that the way to put up issues? One, you do coronation. Two, you create a political movement which is supposedly a vehicle to take power. So it was not economic, it was more political. If there is economic, you want to tell me if a vehicle is being taxed in Mount Kenya, it's not the same vehicle being driven by a Luo in Nyanza? If maize is being taxed, is it not the maize people in the coast are eating? Mm-hmm. So if it is finance bill, that is just a thing that they have put to look good, because finance bill affect everyone in a community. And if it was everyone, then they should have called everyone in Mount Kenya. Then they should have called everyone. Where were the ministers in Mount Kenya and the PSS? They should have come there. Political alienation. Oh, Nani came, 270 something people have been sacked. 100 and something people are being, their whatever KRA or pins have been blocked. I mean, we were there when Moi went into power. I voted Kibaki. I removed Moi. I was in university. I was very happy then. And when Moi came into, Kibaki came into power, we saw what happened. The so-called Kalenjin community complained that their people are being sacked. Ma'am, you were there.
Mm-hmm. True.
They were being sacked. But somehow, this is what happens anywhere politically. You'll find a community that was in power will want to entrench most of her people into power, to galvanize power, and to control power. Another person comes in, will want to do the same. It is a person who started Kenya, is the continuity of that. If that is a problem you are having, then we should have a sitting and talk about how we should control that. Yes. But you don't go bashing and saying this and this. And when you're saying that, you forget 39 ministers. 9 ministers plus secretary of cabinet come from one community.
From that particular region, and that's exactly
one particular region.
And that's what,
so let me ask you, how many ministers do we have? 20?
22.
No, put 25.
Yes.
Put 25 because we have 3 people.
The special
the 3 ex-officials. So put 25.
Yes.
When you put 25, is it
26,
not? 26.
Marara
yes.
Yeah, even Malala is there. Now I forgot even. Now put 26. There were 25. Now Malala was added. Put 26. You even can put Mudavadi there again.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Put 27. I mean, out of 27, 9 is from one region. How many regions do we have in Kenya? Several regions. Several, is it? Mm-hmm. Why are other people not complaining? Because when you put 9, a third, so the other third is the other communities. So you put a half of 9, let's also put now the Kalenjin nation has 9.
Yes.
So 18 is from 2 regions. Okay? So the other regions, wanagawana, the remaining 9. But they are not complaining. But you are here saying the way your people are suffering. We have how many PSS? PSS are 51 PSS right now. Out of 51, okay, 13 is from one region. Again, say, Kalenjin nation has 13. That is 26. Out of 51, 26 inabaki ngapi? 25. Mm-hmm. So 25 wakawana ile Kenya ingine. And you're still complaining that watu wenyu are suffering. Your people are the people controlling finance and economic development of this country. You can even go to PS Finance. You tell me who's the name.
Does it?
You go to PS Agriculture. Tell me. Go to the PS Iwakwandikana Public Service. Both the Minister of Public Service and the PS Public Service are from one community, if I'm not wrong. Then you tell me your people are suffering.
Yes.
Yet you have the power to have one man, one vote, 1 shilling without a referendum.
Pretty much. Bagalo, I want
then why are we complaining? This thing, yes. I think today me and Eric were on the same side. This thing was nothing. And if this is how we are going to drive Kenya, yes. Me, I'm going to support RUTO.
Pretty much. Just one.
On this one, I'm going to support RUTO. If this is how we are going to drive Kenya, Eric Ragalo on this one, I'm on the RUTO side. Bring the finance bill. What is wrong, we will tell you as our president. Which is right, kindly help us. But we are not going to be controlled by a region to do what they feel.
Pretty much.
I mean, we are all Kenyans, my friend.
That's it.
We are not a region, my friend.
I want you to hold your thoughts right there. So we go for a tiny breather. But guess what? Once we come back, Mungai, I do remember where I cut you short. We are talking about the strategy for one DP Rigathi Gachagua. Guess what? If you go to our website right now, top stories that are essentially running on that particular website is State House response over reports of strained relationship between RUTO and Gachagua. There's also a member of parliament cautioning Dennis Itumbi of alleged plot to frustrate Gachagua. Top of that as well, elders within the Kikuyu community warn RUTO of frustrating DP Rigathi Gachagua. Also, on top of that, DP shows up in church amid queries of his whereabouts. So the story is then, I mean, it can't, I mean, listen, Mungai, that's a smoke, is it not? That's smoke, isn't it?
Where there is fire,
No, there's smoke, isn't it? So once we, or the other way around, once we come back then, Mungai, you know, every other time, Mungai says, wow, we have a kingpin. But then, I mean, we've never seen a kingpin face such backlash, support, when there is no problem at all. Once we come back, we'll be looking at more leaders speaking about that Limuru 3 meeting and also that strategy that Mungai introduced on what DP Rigathi Gachagua has to do now. Once we come back.
Are you a junior secondary school, a college, a TVET institution or a university and you want to advertise your intake? Book now and advertise with us today on both Lookuptv and all our digital platforms. Call us today. Or email us on sales@lookuptv.co.ke.
Tunasema ya kwamba safety begins with me and you.
We have some police stations that are farmer interior. They are going to benefit from the tanks for the purpose of water harvesting. Also the police officers, most of them are exposed in places like roadblocks, traffic duties, and then they'll need those sanitizers when they are performing their duties.
Security is a basic need, but we forget to say thank you to the people who are actually providing it. And for us, it's a great initiative because we know as a community we cannot exist without them.
Once we have mitigated COVID-19 effectively, it means that we have a health workforce. And when we have a health workforce, you are definitely, in most cases, you deliver the desired results.
Together, we are changing lives.
If you want to have a proper outlook of the economy, then you have to speak to the walls and gears of the integral businesses in the country.
And I want to be able to make the youths and everybody coming up in Kenya know that this is here locally.
Men and women in the thick of the bust of markets rising and falling, fighting to make their business decisions stick.
I've always lived in my career that I can never be late
You need to train by yourself. You need to practice by yourself. Then from there you can compose yourself and give kind of services like this.
On season 2 of the Captain's Arena, we seek the inside of the minds, predict the shift in the markets, get inspiration to start, and make sense of it all.
Just watch what everybody else is doing and just make sure you're giving back to the society.
Oof. This is the Captain's Arena.
Taarifa zinapochipuka na kutufikia papa hapa kwenye makao makuu ya chumba cha habari cha runinga ya Lookup, kwenye taifa, kwenye serikali, kwenye bunge, tunajitosa hadi kwenye sauti ya wenyeji ili kupata tu maoni ya wenyeji kuhusu masuala haya yanayochipuka.
Maana hii kitu inaenda kuumiza Mkenya kwa tax.
Hakuna kitu tunafurahia. Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Sisi tunaumia, si ati tunaumia ile ya kiukweli. Juu maisha ni ngumu.
Na bila shaka tunapata maoni yao ili sauti yao ipate kusikika. Na watasema hili, waseme lile, watasema hiki na waseme kile, almuradi sauti yao ipate taa.
Mambo ya mafuta tena imekuwa ni changamoto zaidi kwa kila mtu wa bodaboda.
Uchumi ikikuwa stable, tunaamini mambo itakuwa sawa sawa.
Kwanza liko na ria wasa wa boda, mama mboga nini. Hawa sasa ndio wamefinywa zaidi mama.
Mtazamaji, hii ni bunge la wenyeji.
So now, let's talk about that smoke then, because the smoke is all over. I mean, to the point that for a man who's been everywhere, people started asking, where is he? From that Limuru meeting, something also came up. There was a warning to President William Ruto that should you disrespect his position, then you're in for it as well. All right, then let's watch this Gachagua story this morning. Once we come back, Mungai and Joyce and Regala are gonna help us put that smoke into proper perspective. I do not know whether they call it a smoke or a fire, but let's watch it.
As questions continue to linger regarding the relationship between President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua following the latter's absence in various state functions attended by President Ruto in recent weeks, Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga has told of leaders undermining the second in command.
Madharau yoyote kwa Rigathi Gachagua ni madharau ya mlima, kweli uongo. Kudhihakiwa ni mlima unadhihakiwa, kweli uongo. As many as of that opinion say aye. The ayes have it.
A seemingly angered Kahiga warned that Mount Kenya leaders will not sit and watch as the DP continues to receive constant attacks, noting that they will stand by him like they did when President William Ruto faced humiliation from the past regime.
Huwa siongei sana, lakini nikiongea ninaomba wanisikilize na wanisikilize vizuri. Hii serikali ilikuwa ya machozi, ilikuwa ya kilio, ilikuwa ya watu wengine kuwekwa jela, ilikuwa ya kukosewa heshima. Let it go down and let it be recorded that we do not want to walk that way again. We stood, we fought, we are together and we pray. Wale ambao wanajaribu, because we know them, wale wanajaribu kuleta bad blood between the president and the deputy president, ambao wameandamana vizuri, we are warning you.
When he stood to address the congregation, Gachagua steered off politics, calling on leaders to focus on service delivery.
Let us bring down political temperatures. Let those who have an opportunity to serve be allowed to serve the people.
Nandi Senator Samson Cherargei, however, rubbished any claims of rebellion within the ruling coalition, urging Mount Kenya residents to stick behind Gachagua.
Mimi nataka niwaambie huko penye natoka mambo iko sawa sawa. Mambo iko ngangari. Sisi tuko nyuma ya rais na huyu ndugu yetu Rigathi Gachagua. Sisi vijana ambao tumeoa juzi huwa tunapewa paternity leave na annual leave. Mbona watu wengi wanapiga story mingi na Rigiji alikuwa na recharge ndio akirudi sasa asukume Kenya iende mbele akisaidiana na rais. Sini namna hiyo watu wa Nyeri.
Ian Keitani, Lookuptv.
That's it. Mr. Mungai, how are you?
Hey, these greetings.
I am wondering when you greeting me for the second time.
No, this is the 10th time.
Are you setting a trap for me?
It's the best time, but then the sun is up outside, despite the Met Department essentially telling us a wall that it's going to be a bad weather today. But the sun is out. It's a good time for me to greet you as well. Anyway, can you make sense of that? For a man who's convinced that you know exactly what was on in your community, you know the position of Deputy Rigathi Gachagua in this government, why is the ground looking shaky?
Let me tell you something.
Yes.
I have observed the deputy president.
Yes.
And I have observed the way he does politics. And I am convinced that you cannot perpetuate the same strategy time and again. When you go into war, you have a raft of strategies that you want to deploy. Now, sometimes the best strategy is to fool the enemy. It's not necessarily to show the enemy, and the enemy, so to speak, in quotes, because there is no enemy in Kenya. It's to show the enemy, you know, one hand, but you conceal the other. And the challenge sometimes of always coming out brazen or sending your allies brazenly is that then people get to know what your tactics are.
Yes.
When you look at Cherargei, who was in the meeting yesterday at Endarasha, Cherargei is a strong opponent of Kipchumba Murkomen. Kipchumba Murkomen is by extension the president. Okay, so what is happening is that there is you know, misery loves company, so to speak, grammatically. And there is bound that, you know, you might find yourselves in the same camp out of sympathy, and you find Cherargei in that camp. But I believe the deputy president is going about the one man, one vote, one shilling, and bringing the Mount Kenya community together. Why? You know, as a leader, sometimes you need to sit back and ask yourself, how do I win? How do I get what it is that I want with minimal bloodshed? Like you see, the deputy president, then who was President William Ruto, figured out that the best way to win this thing, first of all, is to endear myself to the hustlers. Secondly, is to present myself in the hands of the state so that the state mistreats me and I can milk as much sympathy as possible. So you get to achieve a lot using other people's resources, because when the police are tear gassing you, they are using state resources and media resources to propagate you, as opposed to you using your own resources. Let us interrogate some things. Number one, Gachagua talks about the one man, one shilling, one vote. In essence, he's alienating his own community from the rest of the community, and yet it is not his community that stands to benefit. How so? If I were the deputy president, what I would have done, I would have gotten Kakamega MPs Remember, there is a Tawe movement also ongoing. Those are the people who would have gotten and funded them to do what? To go and clamor for 1 man, 1 shilling, 1 vote in their own regions. Why? Because Kakamega is populous. So you get all the counties and all the all the constituencies that make up Kakamega, and you give them the agenda of 1 man, 1 vote, 1 shilling to go and run away with it. The consequences of that thing passing in Kakamega will actually benefit your own people.
Yes.
So instead of being looked at like a Mount Kenya kingpin, because what is happening, the people who are fighting deputy president are in one way aligning themselves with the president, but no one can come out strongly and say it is the president who is funding them. So then the best thing is for the deputy president to realize, what do I need to achieve for my people? If you realize, then you realize there is a movement here calling itself Tawe that we can harness. You harness them for your own, for the end, and for you to be able to achieve the end means. That is number 1. Number 2, you need to introduce a discussion using other members of parliament that will favor your people without necessarily looking like it's your tribal agenda. How so? Number 1, the issue of representation. It is true that part of devolving money or part of devolving functions is also an issue of representation. So instead of you looking like you are isolating other communities, let other communities, let other communities
Yes.
come with the agenda
That's
of
it.
representation. So that the people of Nairobi come up with an issue of representation and say, in our constituencies, 1 MP in the floor of the house should have 2 votes. Now, a majority of the members of parliament in Nairobi are not from UDA. And yet, apart from Gakuya and who? We only have, I think, Gakuya.
That will be 1, I guess.
No, there's KJ.
Then KJ.
And KJ. Yes.
So what you do, you have a debater in Sifuna, and Sifuna is broke. People who talk loudest like Mungai are often broke. So you need to harness them. These are the people you deploy resources so that when it comes to issues of representation,
Yes.
they speak on your own behalf, but it doesn't look like you're the one fronting it.
Doesn't.
Do your people benefit?
Yes.
Of course, they do at the end of the day. The other issue is the issue of revenue share. Now, the issue of revenue share is divided into 3. 1, there are people saying, if you collect more, you should get more. And that is led by proponents of people like in Kwale County. They are saying you collect more from titanium, we should get more. And that's a fair and reasonable argument.
Yes.
There are people who are saying, the more we are likely to give taxes, the more you should bring us resources. It's a valid and it's a solid argument. There are people who are saying, we have been marginalized for long. We need money so that we catch up to speed with the rest of the country. They also have a valid point. Now, as a deputy president who is a kingpin of your people, how do you harness this material so that it does not necessarily look like it's coming from you, but it culminates in helping your people? That way, even the president will realize the metal you are made of and is likely to incline with you.
You will.
But when you balkanize your people and put them in a corner, the rest of the country takes up arms and you get isolated, and people now start thinking, oh, sasa watu wa Mount Kenya mumeamua mujichukulie mali nyinyi wenyewe. And that is not what you want to achieve. So I believe the deputy president, sometimes I cut him some slack. It's the first time he's gotten to such a level. Remember, there are very few people, if any, who have risen from an MP to a deputy president
in 5 years.
In 5 years, 1 term and the next time so he's bound to he hasn't gone through what RUTO have gone through. And it's a good thing for him to go through those things. I am not saying he should go through the things the former deputy president went through, but sometimes when we were campaigning, I could tell that this man needs some cutting, a hapa kwa kona trimming you know even for a tea farm when you go to areas that plant tea,
You need to prune it.
sometimes it's pruned and it's not pruned because the owner doesn't like the crop.
No.
You prune so that when it comes up very nicely.
You are yielding nicely.
Yes.
Now, Joyce and
Yes,
Regala,
yes.
won't you listen and take 15 seconds to then answer this question? In rare occasions, is a kimping strategy question? I mean, you should be doing everything right. I mean, Ngai, every other time that you talk about this, is that every time you then turn around and say that this is my kingpin, somebody's going to question
I
it.
have not said he's not.
Okay. Gotta come back to that.
No, I have not said he's not.
Gotta come back to that.
I'm just saying it needs to be pruned. Just kwa masikio hapo kidogo.
Nywele kidogo, makucha ikatakate kidogo.
Joyce, let's take up that particular question as well. I mean, there is the smoke, but for you, I want you to answer this question.
Yes.
Some elders within the Kikuyu community and leaders within the Kikuyu community, within a meeting, took issue with the president, and they made it clear for him. They told him, this nonsense about you pushing Rigathi Gachagua out of your party or your leadership strategy, we are warning you. This is our son, do not dare. On the sideline of that, there's a man here called Moses Kuria who's not afraid to say, no, I disagree. Man called Rigathi Gachagua. I mean, you're seeing the smoke everywhere. Is it true that more and more now, it looks as if Rigathi Gachagua is not the man, is not in the plan for whatever time that is?
I think it's wrong. Publicity erasure is publicity.
Yes.
Whether negative or positive, publicity is publicity.
Does it?
And as Eric Mugai, who is a member of the Kikuyu fraternity, that any tree that bears good fruits, a lot of stones must be thrown to that tree.
Yes.
For the young men and the boys to eat something from it. I'm loving the fight that Gachagua is fronting, because Gachagua have now turned the focus from now anything else to himself. I know a way of growing a ranger, for you to grow, because there's no school of how you can grow from year 10 to year 11, you need to grow. And since there's no strategy of growing a ranger, you need to know to run as a ranger, how to grow as an individual.
Yes.
So I think the Honorable DP is growing well, whether negatively or positively. Whether he's stepping on toes of the rights of his boss or members from Mount Kenya, it's in order. You need to edge yourself some space, some political space in this jungle.
Does it?
Because in this political jungle, there's no formula for you moving from one position to the other. My brother Mugai has said that the gentleman moved from a speed of what his boss took 33 years to jump. He did it in 5 years. So to me, this gentleman who is jumping from an MP to a DP, yes, in a record of 5 years, he's the gentleman to watch. Allow others take time, move from transition from one stage to the other. When members from his background realizes that there is a strength in this gentleman called Rigathi Gachagua, they are capitalizing on that position. A lot of focus, a lot of energy, negative energy is being wasted on say the doctors. A lot of negative energies. So this gentleman wants to divine a way of his political survival. His office again has been, he has a proposed budget of about 1.2 billion. That deliberately Gachagua wants him to be denied. Himself, he wants himself to be denied that amount of money. Remember when they were campaigning 2022, he said this, that the office of the deputy president,
yes,
was denied, and RUTO used his own personal funds to operate from his office.
Yes.
So the same narrative Gachagua is driving today, that I proposed a budget of 1.2 to my office, and it was trashed. So in essence, he's praying into our own hearts. To me, this is a shrewd, a faithful politician, but a shrewd one, who needs to have his job well cut out. Yesterday, when he was speaking at Russia, he said, you know, I'm a good man. I'm a man of few words. So in essence, he's a man of few words, but a lot of actions. Whom does he tag along? Reverse psychology tells us that he would have expected Mugai's MP to be there. Eric Ragaro's Roiro MP, Simon Kingara to be there.
Yes.
My own MP, Konya Duku to be there. But he did not tag along the very obvious. He turned around the enemies of development. Which enemy of development did he tag along? He brought with him a senator. All the way not from Ebu, but from the Rift Valley, Cheragai. And this is a gentleman who have been fighting the house of Kenya Kwanza when he is inside. So in essence, to those persons who are undermining the political weight of the deputy president, they are on the wrong book. Let them take now notes and read another Kenyan who is out literally to take position of leadership. Like Mugai said, in Kikura, we do not have the throwing up of our kingpins.
Yes.
So the kingpin issue, even if you try to force it out of Mugai Raija, kind of drop it. It's just like asking us not to take up the cup and it's wrong gone. In Kikura, we do not have the issues of kingpin.
That's it.
We have to force our way into political situations. The son of Gena, he was denied leadership severally, but he took it once. I belong to the same school of that with Mugai, that when the past is gone, allow the past to be, as the English word says, is the past. Create opportunities for others so that, you know, in English we say, a hair that runs on its own. You can never tell whether that hair is fast.
Yes.
Allow other hairs to run with you so that, in essence, you can tell from the looks of Ragaro today, if the three of us was to do a marathon race between Mugai, Joyce, and Ragaro, would defeat Ragaro flat-footed because you know of his weight.
Yes.
Allow even other hairs to come on space so that you know they can show you that they can offer better leadership. Let us not zero in ourselves only to one person. Other persons can provide leadership. So basically today I say the man to watch in the mountain is not Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. It is one gentleman from Madeira whose mother's name is called Mother. And he is the person that is going to lead the Mount Kenya to greater strength.
Pretty much. Guess what, Ragalo? Even as you get ready to respond to that as well, on this smoke that we're saying, I want us to attach another issue that was a big revelation to Kenyans, and the State House was forced to respond as well. In this Limuru 3 conversation, while that was going on, it was revealed that Uhuru Kenyatta's office has not been receiving money for the past 2 years, and this is what the State House said. That Uhuru was given Kibaki's Nyari office, but declined. That is according to State House, and I will say this. Let me just read for you the first response on this. That there's an office complex in Nyari. That's according to State House spokesperson. That was used by President Mwai Kibaki. It is very well known that it is there and it's vacant, and President Uhuru Kenyatta can use that office when he deems it fit. That's according to Mohammed. And it continues that in April reports, it emerged that Uhuru rejected the office over various issues, sustaining the standoff. So for the past 2 years, he refused it, and they said, okay, you can do whatever it is you want.
I'll answer that simply.
Yes.
The government is playing games here. When
Ragalo, he refused it.
I would refuse it. Was it a government office or Kibaki's office?
Kibaki's office, and
then that is Kibaki.
Is now former.
He is former, but that was Kibaki's office, not government office. It is not a designated office for former presidents.
Yes.
It was Kibaki's office. Where was Moi's office? So Moi didn't get money because Moi didn't. So Nyari office was Moi's office. So when Moi left, Kibaki took over the office. So Kibaki has left, Uhuru takes over the office. So when RUTO leaves the office as president, either now they'll have to bring in or build another office because Uhuru will still be alive. I mean, are we not jokers? There's more to an office. There's a package of a president when they leave.
Does it?
And it is known that an office is availed for him. So definitely the person will have to give you where he wants to have an office from.
Or the government says
No, the government doesn't make decisions. You make decisions. They will tell you this is what you're going to pay you for an office.
Yes.
So Uhuru can decide to go back to Chancery where he used to be. Back to the former his office, Kitambo, and say this is where I'm going to go back. Then the government will continue. Do you have to take someone by force to Nyari? What if he doesn't want to go to Nyari? I find this government being toddler government sometime in its thinking. So where is Prime Minister's office? So which office do you pay Raila for? Because Raila has also to be paid for. Where is the Prime Minister's office? We know where it is. So former Vice President, and there are two who are alive, or Moody is not there. Where is former Vice President Moody's office? Oh, where is former Vice President Mudavadi's office? Former Vice President Kalonzo's office. We know where they are. It is where they feel like to have.
But in the event that is vacant.
So why do you have, it's vacant? Is it a government office? That's what I'm asking. It's not a government office. It was Kibaki's office. So Kibaki wanted his office to be in Nyari, near his place. What if Uhuru doesn't want to be there because he doesn't live near Nyari? And he wants it to be at Chancery. I'm giving you an example. Chancery is just in Upper Hill.
Yes.
So you want to force him to Nyari? You know, the government should stop this kid thing, kuwa na emotions mingi na machungu mingi. Oh, because Uhuru did this to DP, now he's the president, now we have also to do him. Do me, I do you will hurt this country.
Yes, sir.
You do me, I do you, there is that song. Why you do me, I do is wrong for Kenya.
Yeah.
Why do you even not pay him now? Okay, why can't you just pay his workers then? His workers are not alive people. They are not having kids to take to school. They don't have social issues to do.
Yes.
So his workers are not paid for 2 years because Uhuru has refused an office. That's what I'm telling you. I'm saying this in Swahili now. Ni utoto mwingi sana.
Yes.
Ni utoto.
Does it look?
And let me tell you, if this is how our government is going to be run, then this is stupidity way. I mean, a former vice president, I'm a president, I'm a who, should not even be asking for their livelihood. It is written in the constitution. It's something that is there. It's something we passed, not you or you or you. So give them their dues. We don't want to hear this story. Let me call it nonsense. At Uhuru is not being paid. Why? At Uhuru cannot even have a plane. He has to use his money to go out of the country. What nonsense is this? Was he not a president for Kenya? Surely. Oh, Uhuru cannot do this and this because he doesn't have money. The government is not giving his money. He has to use his own money to take care of his cars. What nonsense is this? That is to say, Madam here has retired. She can't get her retirement because the government wants her to go and live to have an office in Murang'a, but she has to have an office in Kiambu. Now she has to painfully survive because she can't be paid. What nonsense this is?
Yes.
Hii si kitu hata tunastahili kwa tunadiscuss. Hii ni utoto mwingi.
That's it. Ragalo, do you want to allow Mungai to respond to that as well quickly?
I've
Because
not finished
yes,
the other
I want to come. I want
Okay.
to back. I will come back to on the one regarding Gachagua.
It's not even provided in raw.
Does that? Here's what it is. Is it wrong enough for the government to come in and say, we gave you an office, it was vacant, he refused it, so we stopped essentially funding his operations as a former, as a president, let me say that. Is it wrong, Mungai? But the basis is, well, there's that office there, he said, I don't like it, and they said, okay, up until when you decide to go in.
You know the challenge with politics, Simba, is that there is an opportunity to be petty.
Yes.
That's the challenge with politics.
Who's being petty here?
Government.
I mean, government is being petty. You know, it's in public domain that the former president and the current president were at loggerheads.
Yes, sir.
And to exacerbate the matter is the fact that the former president has been seen in many political events that are seen as a confrontation to the current government. And therefore, even the normal civil servants would ordinarily take care of that, has to sort of defer to the president, the sitting president, so that you you are allowed, ordinarily you would make a decision, okay? But because of pettiness, you can't make that decision because you are afraid of backlash from the powers that be. I would say that when the President Kibaki took over power, he commissioned what is called the Kroll, the commission, which brought a report. Now, when that report was brought, Kibaki realized that it was going to have a lot of consequences politically on him. So he sort of shelved the report for political reasons.
Yes.
And why that is important sometimes is because states exist in perpetuity. The things that the current government is meting against the former president
will be done to them
once they exit office. Because sometimes you imagine you're a genius, you'll be in office for 10 years. But that might not necessarily be the case. You could go for 5 years and someone else more antagonistic than you comes to power. We have had lessons from Senegal. You saw what happened. The young man came into power despite having jailed the character and his friend. So, matters politics, there is sometimes you must take the high road and say, look,
yes,
I know the former president was petty. I know we could not agree on a lot of things. But let us allow him to enjoy the privileges of a former head of state.
Yes.
Because he merited that office in his own right.
Yes.
So I think it's good the pettiness is very petty.
Here's the thing, Joyce, I'll come back to you.
I wanted to conclude this issue on the...
Are you able to take 45 seconds?
Yes. The Public Properties Act, which is in place today, defines which offices are defined as public property. And offices. This is like the office of, this is like the state houses, the roads, the houses of the constitutional office holders, like the CJ.
Yeah.
So it does not have provisions for, like say the governors are, residential offices.
Yes.
Or houses, which is being revised so that they can be incorporated.
Yes.
Since the office of former president is not designated in this act,
yes,
then where I deem my office to be, then you have to accommodate.
Yes.
Because all the state house have been gazetted. The residential places have been gazetted. Now, this one is left open. So, since this one is left open in row, then allow it to be, because it does not specifically say the offices of the former presidents should be in Ruaka. Are you getting the scenario? Since it is not stipulated in row, then allow the matter not to be discussed. This is it.
Pretty much.
Brother, when Kibaki, the government of Moi Kibaki, wanted to go for Moi and his excesses,
yes,
I remember they sat down and wisdom went to them when Kibaki and Raila, and they decided let's not go for Moi.
Yes.
And in fact, Kabarak was to be retaken back to the government.
Yes.
Kibaki had to write to the Ministry of Land and release Kabarak to be as a property of Moi, because when Moi had not built his own house in Nairobi, he actually lived in Kabarak. So where would he have gone? Ama ni wapi ushaisikia nyumba ya Moi iko Karen? Funny, he never had a house in Nairobi. Sijaisikia nyumba ya Moi iko Runda. So Moi was living in Kabarak. So when you remove Moi, where did you want Moi to go? And by that time, the government had not built houses for the president. Not like the way Kibaki's house was built when he was in office, or the way Uhuru's house was built when he was in office. You understand? So they had to let Moi be. That is how wisdom goes with people. And that's why you hear there's after Kibaki left, nobody fights Kibaki behind. Uhuru had a problem with RUTO. That is, I'll call it again, that is a young people problem. It's called energy of the young people. They had too much energy to fight each other. But when wisdom comes in, let's not be petty. So my question is, if you're not paying Uhuru's chef, so who is paying the chef? And how are the keys of the chef? If you want to count the number of employees that Uhuru lives with, so why are you doing this to them? So are you hurting Uhuru? You may not even hurt Uhuru because he can survive. He has all the companies from the family and all the wealth. But why are you hurting the workers? So are you really hurting Uhuru? Does Uhuru need that office really? He can actually operate from his own house and go to EU and all those things he does. He can afford. But are you hurting the workers? Because if Uhuru leaves, he has to live with the workers. So he has to pay even the workers as he goes. Who pays per diem for them?
Does it?
So why are you hurting the workers? I mean, to any government here. And if I'm a president then will I do that to you? Then what precedents are we forming in this country? You know, naita utoto. Don't like it. Tuachane na hii upuzi.
Over to Rigathi Gachagua.
No, Rigathi Gachagua ni mkuki wa kujidunga. He's alienating himself. No one is alienating Rigathi Gachagua. Actually, he's doing it himself. And the people who are hurting Rigathi Gachagua are not outside his party, are people in UDA. I'll give you 4 people.
Yes.
1, Keheka want to be the deputy president. So who is sitting as the deputy president? Rigathi Gachagua. So atafight nani? Rigathi Gachagua. Mbarire want to be deputy president. Mbarire ako UDA. So who is hurting Rigathi Gachagua? Mbarire again. Ndindi Nyoro want to be deputy president against Gachagua. So who is hurting Gachagua? Ndindi Nyoro, UDA. Kindiki want to be deputy president.
Yes.
Who is hurting Gachagua? Kindiki again. In which party? UDA. So outside the UDA, who is hurting Rigathi Gachagua? No one. Those people are doing politics that is supposed to be done naturally. Find an enemy, bash the enemy. That's the politics. So, but within your party, you should not be fighting each other because you already know.
Yes.
So that is insubordination. They are the same people, 4 guys insubordinating Rigathi Gachagua in the same party. So what is happening?
Why is RUTO not speaking against it, even when all
I'll
these
give you,
things
I've not finished. I will give you an answer to that.
All right.
Musalia Mudavadi has come in. I think this week,
yes,
Amani is going to fold, and it's going to be UDA. So we are going to have 2 deputy party leaders in UDA. So where does Mudavadi want to be? Does he want to be under Gachagua or with Gachagua? So Gachagua is still anona moto. So now the issue is, the problem is in UDA. The problem is not outside UDA. So watu wachei kelele that is being used ati Kenya is disrespecting Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua is going to Nyanza. Was he pelted with stones? Alitukanwa? No. Nobody. He was even hosted and called deputy president. He talked very nicely about Baba there, which he must anyway when he's there. When he went to Kakamega, in that forum, nobody disrespected him. So if disrespect is within his party, and especially Mount Kenya guys in his party, watu ondole yo maneno yao ati he's being disrespected. Rigathi Gachagua na party yake wangangane wafike kwenye watafika. Whoever they will give us, we will handle. So you asked a question at there's a question asked.
Why is RUTO not speaking against it? Because now it looks as if that those divisions that are within the party, even to the point that Mount Kenya leaders are warning him against fighting Rigathi Gachagua.
But RUTO is happy. When all of you are fighting but directing all the wars back to the support of one person. I'm fighting Eric, but as much as we are fighting, the supporters of Eric are being told, now our president ni RUTO. The supporters of Waragalo are still being told, our president ni RUTO. Despite our fight, our president ni nani? Ni RUTO. So who is going to win all these things? Ni RUTO. So to RUTO, it works for him. You know, RUTO, the few votes he didn't get, he will get them now, because all those few votes RUTO didn't get that supposedly Raila got has already galvanized around some of these people.
Yes.
Okay? And all those votes are now directed to RUTO despite our fight.
Yes.
So if they are fighting, it's good, but they are bringing the votes to me. And that is what we call politics of dividing and ruling them.
Yeah.
Yes. So divide them, but bring votes, I rule you. Niendeleni, bring vote, I rule you. So divide them and rule them.
Is it good for the party, Mungai, that this conversation would happen at this time? Why is RUTO so silent? Is what I kept on asking you. That some people within the party have read it. that indeed you might not be in the plan because there's somebody somewhere playing a game that is working in his favor, just like Ragalo is saying.
No, you know, that's why politics is a very interesting game.
Yes.
And that's why sometimes when politics unfolds, you're better off taking a bit of popcorns.
I know.
I keep saying.
Which side are you? Are you watching?
No, he's supporting what I'm saying.
Are you watching or are you participating?
I support partly what Ragalo is saying.
Yes.
You know, the deputy president quickly needs to come out of zonal mentality to realize that these are national politics. Because sometimes, and it's nothing of his fault, sometimes you can rise into a position while psychologically you are not yet there.
Yes.
So what you need to do very quickly is to elevate yourself to the mindset of that particular position. Why? Right now, the whole country perceives the deputy president to be the problem.
Yes.
That's the perception of the whole country, which might not work in his favor, because remember, government is about policies and allocation of resources. So you need to be a powerful deputy president for you to be able to share resources, which include positions and money. So that if today you call the MD of a parastatal, they can employ for you 5 people. But if the MD perceives you are powerless, Ndindi Nyoro will call them
and will get the jobs.
And will get the jobs, and you will not get them as deputy president. Why? Perception. Now, what deputy president must do for now, Mudavadi is very quiet. That is not good for you, because Mudavadi then appears to be the statesman. What you must do as deputy president politically, you must stoke fire in Mudavadi's backyard.
Again.
Why? So that now people focus on my DVD, and my DVD is forced to go back home. To respond
to go back home.
And go back home. You see? So while he's home, you're busy in Nairobi sharing. But because of as I say, I am the mindset of the deputy president perhaps has not elevated to national politics. He will be beaten and pitted against Ndindi Nyoro. I mean, when you look at Ndindi Nyoro and the deputy president, they should not be pitted against each other, right?
But they are now, isn't it?
No, even psychologically speaking, when the people of Mount Kenya observe and see that you're being fought by Ndindi Nyoro, the headline is putting you against Ndindi Nyoro. It's very demeaning.
I'll give you an example. Let me help him. When you are in Form 4 and somehow there is a karabsha imetokea, then you find a Form 4 fighting a Form 1. Then Form 1 hits a Form 4. You'll hear people saying, "Only Form 1 anagonga Form 4." Who Form 4 ni maembe? You know, who Form 4 ni maembe? You know, and basically, Ndindi Nyoro is the Form 1.
That's it.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
Nani is the Form 4.
So the deputy president now, the deputy president,
yes.
What you do as a deputy president, you need a team of sober advisors.
That's it.
Sober advisors who have an interest but who can see the bigger picture, who must tell you you will be president in 2032. What do we need to do now? Because who are the strong men in Ruto's government? You know, you can count them. The strong men in Ruto's government are Duale is a strong man. Murkomen is a strong man. Sudi is a strong man. So what do you do as the deputy president when you know that these are the people curtailing your freedom and the likes of Ndindi Nyoro? Number one, you sponsor a candidate in Ndindi Nyoro's backyard. Very powerful fellow. You finance them completely. Their work is to launch doorknobs, windows, anything. It doesn't matter. Their work is to go to every funeral, cry with the people. That is what you do. So that Ndindi Nyoro, instead of flying with a helicopter, he's everywhere. He's too busy. He goes back to Kiharu. Okay? Then you realize, is Aden Duale a threat now? No. You say, okay, huyo wacha niwachane na yeye. Murkomen, has he given me jobs in his ministry? No. Okay. So what do? Murkomen wants to be a kingpin after Ruto in Rift Valley politics. So what do you do as a person who has foresight
sponsor Cherargei.
You sponsor people like Cherargei and others
to stoke fire.
To stoke fire, and you see, you are the deputy president, so you have intelligence briefs.
Yes,
you know what those fellows are eating, and you know where they are eating it. You make sure that those people. So what you do is that your opponents now will be busy. Mudavadi will be quelling Tawe movement, very busy. You find Atwoli will be busy bashing Mudavadi, bashing Wetangula in Western Kenya. That way now, as a deputy president, you appear stately. You start saying, those people of Western, this is not the time to fight. This is the time to work.
I want to add something on
yes,
him. Allow me 5 seconds.
Yes.
I want to add something on
yes.
him, which is very true. What he's saying is typically true. But I have a problem with the DP. When fight started, DP ran to Nyeri. Why didn't he run to Muranga? Because now he finds Muranga is in this territory. Why couldn't he come to Kiambu? There was a Limuru thing running in Kiambu. So he goes back home. Very wrong. You don't go. There is no day when things were tough, Raila went back to Nyanza. He would go to Kibera, Nairobi, and start it off from Kibera, where he has all the country together. When Ruto things were tough, Ruto alikuwa machongumu. Anagongwa anaenda kulilia Kiambu. Yeah. Things were tough. He goes back to Kiambu. Anasema napigiwa huku. He didn't go to Kabarak. Or did he go to Elgeyo Marakwet? You understand? And this is what politics is all about. Now DP here amekewa mtego kila mahali. If you look at the ministries that have been given out, you can see mtego, and I want to show you why. DP is not seeing eye to eye with Moses Kuria. Who is the employer? Moses Kuria is the employer. So who can employ for DP people? Moses Kuria. Because people, ukileta watu lazima wapite hapa. But when they come, Moses will now say to Mdosi, nimesukumiwa hii na DP. Unaona aje? Hapa tutaumwa juu ya hii na hii toa hii majina. Now you see, akienda kwa finance amefinywa. You cannot get someone in finance. Akienda kwa agriculture, na ni agriculture ni bedrock ya Mount Kenya. Imefinywa. Agriculture ni ya side hii. Amekewa jamaa ya Meru, imefinywa. So DP amebaki na gani? Amebaki na hii ya TVET. Huo ni mtu wake, ule PS wa TVET. Na alcohol. Na alcohol anafinywa na wengine. Then alcohol unafinya, Tusker inateremushwa, ndio watu wache pombe hii wakunywe Tusker, ulevi iendelee, but unaambiwa fight alcohol. IDP.
Joyce, we have exactly 5 minutes left.
Yes.
I want to give you 3 minutes of that time. But this is the direction that I want to point you in. I mean, it's not that the DP is not spoken. So after weeks of silence, I mean, people are asking, where is the DP? Why is he letting all these things go on? He has 2 comments for you this morning. And this is what he said. I will not comment on the political issues being raised. The reason is that I'm a man of few words, and if you have followed my politics for the last 10 months, I'll talk less and do more. Okay. Second comment this morning from this man. I have heard members of parliament dwelling on matters regarding the deputy president instead of CDF. How will you know? And you're not privy. He's asking the man. Like who's telling you these things and you're not privy to whatever is going on in my camp? Please mind your business. It is not yet the election period. Let's bring down the political temperatures and allow those who have the opportunity to serve do so. It's like Najuaj, and you're not even part of this conversation. How do you make sense of those two?
Like I said previously,
yes,
the DP is in charge.
Maza.
And he says, I'm a man of few words. I will talk less and do more. No, those are the words that you take to the next M-Pesa agent next to your door, because they are very serious. You know, my brother, the 2 Erics today have been advising the man from Madeira on issues that he himself has endorsed. He says, I'll talk less and do more. You in essence do not know what is on his table now, on his cards now. He has realized that there's a lot of political heat that is going on. Yeah. And he did now to fight and divide the house of RUTO right in the middle.
Yes.
I've just said a few minutes ago that he takes a proponent of, he takes a follower of RUTO and takes him all the way to Edarasha. Ragaroto does that when matters are hot, he does not go to Bodo, he goes to Ruiru. But in essence, Ragaro stays in Ruiru. Why will he go to Ruiru? Because that is where his strengths are. When I'm being fought, I would not rush to where I stay, I will rush to Kinagob. Because that is my political zone of comfort. When this man goes to Edarasha, and this week on Thursday and Friday, again there are political statements that will be made in Nyeri this week. He knows what in essence he is saying. He addresses the issue of toning the matters down. This is what again Ragaro said, bring the matters down, I'm in charge. He has mastered the art of what no other Kenyan is doing today. The matters of making enemies fight. He wants to capitalize on statements.
Yes.
Mimi nilikuletea 10 employees at the Ministry of Agriculture, which is chaotically being handled, and you refuse to fight for me. So he'll bring it back to the table of the Wajiko, and you tell Wajiko this statement that I forwarded the following list of so many things to be dealt with.
Yes.
And the government did not deal with it. So in essence, Wajiko will not, Wajiko will be for him. They will realize that in essence, the weight of the DP, he made the statement. Yes. What he asked us what he requested from us, we delivered. This week, we've seen the schools that have been brought down by the floods. They will not, some of them have not opened.
Yes.
And who is taking care of the infrastructure, the schools? This is none other than the CDF. So in essence, this gentleman knows where to hit. This week around, he's hitting at the CDF offices. He is zeroing literally down on the MPs. And who are the majority of the MPs? They're in Kenya Kwanza government. So in essence, he equate the damage, the reconstitution and establishment of the infrastructure against the contribution of the CDF. This week around, we find a lot of it. Because this is week 2, where the schools have opened. And you want to literally to zero down. Even on Nyeri 3, I mean the Nyeri this week, he will literally ask the MPs, this week, watoto wa Nyeri hawajafungua shule. Because in essence, his area has been hit in Mount Kenya on schools that have not opened. And who are supposed to finance those infrastructure? The MPs with the CDF. So in essence, this is a gentleman who has his heart on the ground and he knows what he is saying. And when he say, I'll do more and talk less, in essence, he's a Christian. The son of Magda, he's saying, I'm in charge. And I believe what he says, that he's in charge.
Does it?
Yes.
Pretty much. Guess what? That conversation doesn't stop here. It goes back online. Take them back to the time that the agenda is right here on the morning drift at Lookuptv across all your social media platforms. And if indeed you do know where it's going, because Brigadier Gachagua says you cannot know because you're not privy to these issues, just leave me alone, then we'll be happy.